Hi guys, today I want to talk about some of my son's manic episodes, and if you've got somebody that's bipolar, schizophrenic, or schizoaffective, you're going to be familiar with this, or you might be just really confused as to what's happening, as we were. My son's mental illness kicked in very early and got very severe very fast at about 15, which is quite young. Generally for males it's college age that this happens, and for females it's a little bit later, closer to the 30s. But at about 15, my son would just decide he was homeless, and at that time we were living in a gated community, and he would take his suitcase and take off and with all his stuff in his suitcase and go live out in the woods. Well, we were in Melbourne, which is South Florida, and it was really scary because it's alligators. I mean, we had coral snakes in the garage, water moccasins. It's not a safe place to be camping when you don't know what you're doing. And he would think he was homeless. He'd trundle off with his little case down the neighborhood to disappear for a while. And even though he had money at the house, he would be breaking into cars and taking change from cars. So, criminal behavior was kind of apparent when he was going through these delusional manic states. We ended up with him breaking into a car. This time he'd taken his bike when somebody went into the store and took her purse. And we immediately get a call from the police, and as we get a call from the police, this is still going on. They're, chasing him. The owners of the car's boyfriend was chasing him, even left his bicycle at the scene. So he got locked up for that, but they did realize that he was having issues. At the time, his diagnosis was bipolar, and they did lock him up. But the irony of the situation was his grandparents had flown in from Canada, and they were waiting at the house to give him some money. And he already had money. He didn't need this money that he was taking, but his delusions were making him basically act on false beliefs in his head. A delusion could be something like you believe that the FBI is, spying on you through your phone, or, there's aliens, or you're God's son. All of these delusions he's had. So if somebody is delusional, they're going to believe what's in their head and they're going to follow it. So he was delusional, believing he was homeless, believing he needed money. He didn't. But the court system at that point, they did punish him, but they did realize that he needed help. When he was released, we continued treatment with his psychiatrist. The next thing that really was kind of out there that he did, and it was common, if we were trying to sleep at night, you'd just hear him moving around, which would make you as a mother or a father or a caretaker very uneasy, because you can't sleep, because you're thinking, what the heck are they doing? Are they going to take off again? He was actually moving things around in the house. And my ex-husband kept saying, let me go out in there and see what's going on. I said, look, he seems fairly calm, and everything he's doing sounds kind of methodical. There isn't any loud bangs like him smashing plates. He used to. I'd hand him food, he didn't want it. He would just smash the plate on the floor. So nothing like that was going on. But he was proceeding to open drawers, open cupboards. He was taking the stuff from the computer room, putting it in the kitchen, taking the stuff from the kitchen, put it in the computer room. He turned all the bar stools upside down. Most everything actually had been turned upside down in the house. He'd taken the vitamins and he'd put them on top of the door of the cupboard or on top of the computer screen, just precariously placed these vitamins. And my ex kept saying, I want to go out there. So he'd go out and look, and he said, look, he's just kind of rearranging furniture and moving stuff around. I said, just leave him alone for now. And he came back and he said, no, I'm concerned. He's not right. I said, I know. Just leave it for now, and let's see if he calms down and goes to sleep. Which he was calm. He was just delusional. And he'd been awake for days at this point. So he started apparently to stack the cushions from the couch outside our door and barricade us in. But I didn't realize that was going on until my ex opened the door and he's like, look, he's barricading us in the room now. I said, all right, it's time to call for help. So we called the police. The police showed up, and the guy walked into the house and he kind of did a, oh, okay, I've never seen anything like this before. I said, yeah, he really needs transportation to the psych ward. And he said, yeah, I think so. He took a look around. He was like, wow. I said, well, this is obviously where his head's at, which is not a good place. So he went into Corey's room, and Corey just put his hands behind his back and went peacefully with the police officer. And this is continued over and over and over and over again to get to the place that we're at now, where he's 28 years old and he's doing well, has a lot to do with him putting in the effort, and also myself putting in the effort and not giving up on him. I'm going to explain one more delusion. When he moved up to Atlanta, he had kind of gone to the streets because he'd gotten kicked out of everywhere he lived. He had to get out of Melbourne. I discussed that in another video because he thought people were after him. He lived with his sister. She kicked him out for good reason. And his dad, he kicked him out, so I was paying for hotels for him. The hotels kicked him out. So at this particular point, he was pretty much living on the streets, and he was directing traffic. And there'd been some calls put in that he was out in the street dancing and directing traffic. And when the police officer showed up, the police officer said to him, "You've been stabbed." He was bleeding. And somebody come up and stabbed him while he was directing traffic, and he didn't even realize that he was stabbed. So, you know, they do fairly dangerous things. Like he would get up on, you know, those billboards where the guys put, you know, all that big paper up, and you end up with the ultimate end result is a big billboard. He would climb all the way up there. I saw a Facebook post of him up there dancing, taking his shirt off, you know, not afraid of heights at all, because he was very, very manic. So a lot of your journey is going to be staying calm and or enlisting help of maybe law enforcement. Well, probably you would have to. I like to be there when law enforcement shows up so they don't get the wrong message and try to shoot them or rough them up. But he has had plenty of those situations where law enforcement have been there, and the ambulance and the fire department. But now we're in a good place because we've really worked with the psychiatrists, the hospitals. And I say we, that's me and him, because everybody else gave up on him. They said, just throw him away. So I'm not going to do that. So don't throw them away, because I have him back. I have him back mentally. When they start to get delusional, we try and catch it early now. But understand that that's not them. That's their illness. They're sick at that point. So if we can get them the help that they need when it's needed, and notice when things are not working. I've discussed this before. Their sleep pattern will be off. Sleeping too much or not sleeping at all. Not eating, unable to eat, not hydrating, generally not taking care of themselves. And they may come out of left field with some kind of delusional or obsessive stuff with their thoughts. So you have to really keep on top of that. But the big ones for me are, because he's manic type, he's schizoaffective, so that's schizophrenia, with manic type bipolar. So that's schizophrenia and bipolar kind of put together. So basically, I watch for being up at night, not enough sleep, not eating correctly, not hydrating correctly, and also not wanting to go out of the house, wanting to stay home. Anyway, you guys, keep on top of it, advocate for your loved ones, and there are people out here like me to talk to. So if you want to post in the comments, or you know, you have some topics or questions that you want me to address, do so. Have a great day.